This is the same as last week. Last week I did top 10 REM songs, and I didn't realise until I delved into it how many great REM songs there were.
I don't know any of them.
You would.
I didn't.
See, this is why you're an enigma, Sarah. Because, you know, you may be too young for REM, but then how the hell are you...
I have rapid eye movement, you don't know me.
But how are you too old, or not old enough, to know about Only Fools and Horses in the 80s? It doesn't make any sense.
I know. It's a problem.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like I spent all my time watching the telly and not as much listening to music that wasn't on the telly.
Well, I mean, it's done you well, hasn't it?
Thanks.
If just for the sake of watching telly, look at where you are now.
Yeah.
Talking to me on a Wednesday evening. This is where it bottoms out. This isn't the heights. This is the bottom.
Oh. Well, that show's considerably shorter. It's only 3 seasons.
That is true. Well,
5 live shows.
Hive of information.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Pretty much.
And once again, for the only the second time we've ever done this, this is all going to be the preamble. I'm not going to start with the usual thing. We did it last time for your episode. I'm going to keep this all in.
We went on a 4-hour walk before this.
Yes, indeed. And that will be a bonus episode on our Patreon. No, it won't. I'm only joking.
I must add, it was separately.
Yes. We were just talking to each other through our minds.
Mm.
And I had a wonderful conversation. I don't know what the conversation you had was.
That's right.
Good.
It's a lot like this.
Yeah, it's no. This is top notch. Okay.
I worry that you might have decorated your room for the wrong thing.
Unfortunately, this isn't a Star Wars based podcast. Although I'm sure in every podcast I reference Star Wars and Taylor Swift. I have to try and squeeze them in somehow.
Makes sense.
And to be fair, I've got my Star Wars hat on. And I've got my Taylor Swift hoodie on, so I've already done it.
My background is a blank space, so there you go.
Oh, if only I had. Just bear with me a sec.
Sure.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well done. That was impressive. Right, let's get back to the job in hand, because they go on for ages. Okay, I'm going to do the introduction now. Is that okay, Sarah?
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, I'm ready.
Thank you.
2, 1.
It was the 8th of September 1981 when Del, Rodney and Grandad Trotter first appeared on British TV screens. Then, for 64 episodes and 22 years, they provided some of the greatest moments in British comedy. We're here to count down our top 10 episodes, but first, here are 10 Only Fools facts. And all of a sudden, oh Christ. Hang on a minute. Cut.
Don't call me that. I'll show massage you.
I don't know why it's done that. Ah, there we go. Only Fools facts. Thank you. Right, number 1. David Jason originally wanted to leave the series in 1986, so it was intended for Del to go to Australia with Jumbo Mills. The producers intended for the series to continue as Hot Rod, with Nicholas Lyndhurst and the other main characters. Jason, however, changed his mind, and Del didn't go to Australia.
I could end up being the king.
Number 2, the outdoor scenes were shot in Bristol, as the producers could not afford the insurance to film in Peckham, London.
Got him by the short and curlies.
Trigger's real name in the series was Colin Ball. He was called Trigger because he looked like a horse.
Gordon Bennett, Rodney.
Number 4, Elizabeth Hurley auditioned for the role of Cassandra.
He's as happy as pig in sugar, he is.
Number 5, John Sullivan wrote every single episode.
Do you reckon they're porkies?
At number 6, David Jason wore a hairpiece and later a wig to play Del Boy.
No, everything's Cushty.
Number 7, the original ending in 1996 was that Del, Rodney and Albert became cartoon characters as they walked into the sunset. The director, however, decided against the idea.
God, stone me.
Number 8, it was intended that Chaz and Dave would sing the theme song. However, when it came to record it, they were unavailable. So writer John Sullivan recorded it instead.
Oh, go on then. You go and grass me up. I'm not frightened of the old cow.
Number 9, Del Boy's catchphrase "Lovely Jubbly" derived from Lovely Jubbly, a pyramid carton of frozen orange juice.
Lovely Jubbly.
And at number 10, the BBC felt that the title was too obscure at first and should be changed.
Lovely Jubbly.
Wonderful. We've got that out the way. Oh, dear me. Oh, and the music started again. Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another top 10. And again, we've got a returning guest. And it's the wonderful Sarah O'Connell. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And like I was saying before we pressed the record button, you're a bit of an enigma when it comes to this because you're a young whippersnapper as far as I'm concerned.
Ridiculously young compared to the age of the universe, yes.
And compared to things like me, you're ridiculously young. Yet the first time you came on the podcast, it was an 80s based thing, 80s TV, wasn't it, I think?
That's correct, yeah.
And now we're doing Only Fools and Horses, which was in its prime sort of. Well, it was all of the 80s and some of the 90s, and it went on a little bit longer after that, but that wasn't the prime. So why?
Well, you picked it.
Well, I mean, I didn't, did I? You picked it.
No, you picked this one.
Did I?
Yeah, you listened back to the last episode.
So are you telling me?
Suggested it.
That is true. But I mean...
I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what it was.
Okay. So I feel like I may have dropped a clanger here then.
Yeah, so just to check, I've mostly watched the American remake. Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, no. I was gonna mention that. But yeah, let's not mention it too much. Okay, so you've been doing a lot of homework then, I hope and I assume.
Yes, I've watched quite a bit of the programme, predominantly the prequel and the sequel that happened, but I dipped into a few of the original episodes as well.
Okay, what was it, Fish and Chips? No, what was it? What was the prequel?
Rockin' Chips.
Rockin' Chips, that's right. I've not watched a single episode of that.
No.
And the sequel? What was the sequel?
It's the one with Boise when he goes to the...
Oh, that's right. Was it Green Grass or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not watched an episode of that either.
I've watched one episode, and that concludes my review of that.
Was it? It wasn't written by John Sullivan, was it?
I'm not sure. I think what happened was the final episode of Only Fools and Horses was setting up a prequel series, of which I think they wrote one episode, but then they decided to do the sequel instead. But that did really well, so then they went back and made the prequel that they originally planned to.
Right. Okay. So in regards to the fact that you are a young whippersnapper, and Only Fools and Horses predominantly as an 80s comedy show, you are a fan, I'm assuming.
I am, yes.
Good.
Less so than I was 4 days ago.
Right. Okay. So how many episodes have you watched over the? Because I've definitely delved in. See what I said?
I've delved and Rodneyed into it.
Well done. How many episodes do you reckon you've watched over the last?
I reckon I've watched all of them. And at one point, I think I'd watched 24 and worked out I had about another 36 to go. So that was
wow.
And just incidentally, if you watch it on Sky TV, they still put the adverts in.
Right.
So the little clip from the song at the beginning, I've probably heard about 400 times.
So you didn't really appreciate the fact that we had the it's just emblazoned into your brain.
I just thought I was still hearing it.
Yeah.
It's just, the words mean nothing to me now. It's just noises.
It's Charlie Brown's teacher just talking now.
I was just, because it's like, why do Only Fools and Horses work? It's like, well, horses don't choose to work. They're being made to. So I've got that ongoing argument every time I hear it, every 7 minutes.
So you are now just examining every lyric.
Yeah, I'm beyond that. It's, in the Clockwork Orange, where they pin people's eyes open and make them watch. That's happened.
Is it? So have you now fallen out of love with Only Fools? Is that the last thing you want to spend an hour chatting about? Is Only Fools and Horses?
I've gone in and out of love with it quite a few times over the last week.
Right. Okay.
Well, depending on the episode, really.
This is the thing. This is what's going to be interesting, because what I've done, I forgot that I'd bought I don't know what you'd call it, but it's the audio versions on Audible for the first 3 series. So I've
I
been
would call
listening.
it the audio version on Audible of the first 3 series.
See, that's a lot more snappier than the way I put it.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, so I've been listening to them for the last 3 or 4 days, and
So you've just been listening.
I've just been listening, but
So you don't even know what it looks like.
No, I know what it looks like because again, I was there. I'm an OG. I was there watching them the first time they came on TV back in like from 1981 or whatever it was.
Yeah, original gangster.
I am. Thursday nights were amazing on TV when I was a kid. You had Tomorrow's World. You had Top of the Pops.
Do you know none of the stuff on Tomorrow's World has come out yet? I'm still waiting for all of it.
And you know what? They used to have a block of paint where you didn't need a brush. You could just use the block of paint and rub it on the wall. I've been waiting for that for ages. No mess, no fuss. Anyway, I digress. I digress, we could say. And then it used to have, so you'd have EastEnders, then it'd be Only Fools and Horses, and then turn over and watch Moonlighting on BBC Two. What a just amazing. But Only Fools and Horses, I've realised some of it doesn't travel well through time. Definitely not.
No, some of it's not aged particularly well at all.
Some of it's not aged particularly well, but the half-hour episodes, as opposed to when they went into sort of like 40, 45-minute episodes, to me, some of them are some of the best comedy writing ever.
Yeah, I started to fall out of love with it 2 days ago when I realised the episodes were getting longer.
Right.
And then they were becoming an hour. I'm like, I've only got 3 episodes to go, and then I realised they're about 15 hours long each.
Right. And have you got a certain era of Only Fools and Horses that you prefer?
No.
Okay.
Although I'll say this, the best, I don't know if I should. I think the series with the most good episodes is series 2.
Okay. Let me see. I was going to see. I think maybe it's a toss-up for me between series 2 and series 3. I think with the episodes that I've chosen.
You didn't really go beyond that, though, did you?
Once they won the millions, spoilers for anybody that hasn't watched, and I will say this for our American listeners will be an education. If you get a chance somehow to be able to watch Only Fools, I would love to know what an American person would think, whether they watch that and think that is in their mind's eye what every British person is like. I don't know. It'd be interesting. So please email us and let us know, all of our American friends. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, yeah. Once they'd won the millions, that's where it should have finished. They shouldn't not have made any more after that.
Why?
Because everybody looked too old and there wasn't a story to tell.
What do you mean? I disagree with you.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's
fine. I say that having watched the final episodes today.
Okay.
I think they wrapped the series up really well.
Do you? Okay. That's fair. Now, I will say I've only watched the final 3 episodes once.
Yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy them at all.
Do you know why that is? It's a familiarity thing. So you'd seen the other episodes a lot of times, probably on video.
Yeah.
And the new episodes were new to you. And because you didn't know them as well, you didn't like them as much because you hadn't seen them as much and you didn't grow up watching them. And there was more, when you originally watched it, there wasn't that expectation that you now have, there's another 3 episodes and we've not had any for several years. This has to be as good as every other thing you've seen. Whereas I would say comedically, it's as funny, if not more so, than some of the earlier episodes, controversially.
Okay, that's fair enough. I will give them another watch. I will give them another watch.
It'd be a really good idea to do it for this.
I mean, it probably would again. but to be fair, I don't think any of those 3 would have made it into my top 10.
I don't know. The last episode's quite good.
Do you think? I'm pretty sure that the 10. See, the 10 that I've got in my top 10, I haven't got anything. I've got one from 1996, but apart from that, they are all from the 80s. And you're absolutely right. They're ones that I'm familiar with, but there are ones that there are parts of those episodes that I use that language today. I use things in my everyday speech that I've got from Only Fools and Horses. So.
Yeah, but that's because you're a prolific market trader.
That is true. And I've always wearing a cap. Yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
But you know, the very last episode, you mentioned them winning lots of money. Last episode, they've lost it. They've got tax problems. They find out that Uncle Albert has left them some money. Rodney and Cassandra finally have a baby, and it kind of ties up a lot of storylines in quite a nice way, I thought.
Okay. I will watch them again. I promise you, Sarah.
You should.
I will. Just for you, I will do it. I wasn't going to do it, but now
Don't record it.
No, I will record it. I will do commentaries on them. Why not?
Heckling them.
Yes. Before we carry on, we need to do this.
Lisa's challenge.
Fuck are you saying?
Thank you, Lisa. Right, how many of our choices are we going to have the same, Sarah? How many duplicates do you think we're going to get?
I dare say, only because you've not watched all of it, that, let me see. 1, 2, 3.
I have watched all of it. I just haven't watched all of it in the last couple of weeks like you have.
I reckon at best you've got 4.
We're going to have 4 the same.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with... I'm going to say we're going to have 5 the same.
Bearing in mind, I just said I liked the last episode.
That's fine. That's fine, because that still gives me a 50-50 chance on the other... Well, you know.
But I'll also add, I have not included it.
Well, there you go then. So the it's moot, really, isn't it? But,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Give us your now. See, I was thinking as well for a TV show that is what 40 years old.
Mm.
When we're talking about the episodes, we don't need to worry about spoilers and things, do we? Because I mean, it's 40 years old, for goodness sake.
And also, I've just said what happened in the last episode.
Exactly. And if people listening to this haven't watched Only Fools and Horses, stop now, press pause, go and watch all 64 episodes, including the last 3, and then come back and come and listen to the rest of the podcast, because you'll know what we're talking about then. But if I'm assuming for the majority of Brits, they're going to know who Del, Rodney, and Grandad and Uncle Albert are. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It should
but we'll
be.
see. We'll see. Okay. Sarah, kick us off
Okay.
with your number 10.
Kick you off with my number 10. Okay. Coming in hot at number 10 this week is an episode called The Long Legs of the Law. It was from series 2. It's the first episode of that very series. And in it, Rodney starts dating a police officer called Sandra. And then, by the way, prequel to Cassandra. And decides to take her home. Unfortunately, Del Boy has, of course, loads of stolen goods around the flat, and then spends the entire episode trying to hide them.
Yeah, this was one of the ones I listened to today. I must admit, actually, I can't remember which channel it is on UK TV that shows. It's not
Gold?
Dave. Is it Gold? Is there a Gold anymore? Something like that.
There's gold, yeah.
And I love the fact there will be slight little cuts because of things that aren't appropriate for today.
They've kept quite a lot of the not appropriate in. One episode had a warning in it, but I didn't think it was any more or less racist than the others.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a written warning, I think, on the menu.
Oh, right. What, saying that what follows?
Outdated language.
That's it. Yeah.
I'd say that possibly applies to all of it.
I think so. I think so. I mean, again, a different time, whether you can class that as an excuse, it's just what was acceptable. It was acceptable in the 80s, as somebody once sang in a song, I believe. Okay, so that's your number 10, The Long Legs of the Law. I'm trying to think. See, the trouble is, there's no point in quoting jokes from each episode because I'm not going to remember.
I think you should do the voices.
Well, I'll do the voices if you do the voices. I mean, who are you going to do?
Simultaneously.
No. Oh, so you want me to do the voices?
Yes.
But you're not going to do the voices?
No.
Can you not do like a Rodney? Everybody can do a Boise.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want the sentiment of his personality in my mouth.
I'm not gonna give you an answer to that statement there. I was going to try and look on IMDb for certain quotes, but But the trouble is, then I'd have to do the voice, wouldn't I? And
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is when we recommend an episode, people go and watch the episode.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because I think they've edited several of the quotes into them for us.
That's a very good point. And we wouldn't be able to do it justice anyway, whether we both do a Boise or not. Although I will do a Boise later on for one of my episodes. So the Long Legs of the Law.
Long Legs of the Law
Is your number 10. Again, for our Patreon subscribers, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for the video playlist, because I'm sure that not all of the episodes are on YouTube, but I'll do my best to put some nice clips on.
Are we splitting the 70-30? How's this?
70. We'll negotiate that away from the cameras. I think I might need to bring my lawyers in for that.
Okay.
Is that all right? Don't look so scared.
That'll cost more money. Financially, that's not a good idea.
No, we'll just leave it as it is.
I dare say the appearance of lawyer costs more than what anyone could ever make on Patreon.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, unless you're a big hitter, which unfortunately.
Yeah, neither of us are in mixed martial arts, so.
Oh, right. There you go then. Okay. Kate Saunders played Sandra. Did you know that?
Yeah, well, when I paused it, it comes up with the cast and stuff, yeah.
Okay. Did you know what else she's been in?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me see. She's been in Just Good Friends. Do you remember that one?
Do you remember that? I liked that. TV show.
She was also in The Birth of the Beatles.
Interesting.
There you go. I mean, we're just facts aplenty, and that's about it. Oh dear, and she died in 2023.
It's not good.
Oh dear, that's a bit of a bummer.
Well,
Sorry.
My first pick is in tribute to her then.
Good. And Roy Heather also played Sid from The Cafe. There you go. Okay.
I trust he's doing well.
No, he's unfortunately dead as well.
I'm not going to ask about the others.
He also was the granddad in the Al Murray Pub Landlord sitcom. Now, I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yes, Al Murray has
Time Gentlemen
I
Please.
Share a couple of times, yes.
Has he? And it was a great show. It was on Sky, and it was one of those, I think it was early 2000s. And that guy played, what was his name? What do I call his name again? Roy Heather played like the old granddad that was in the pub. And it was really, really good, but it didn't seem to. 2 series, maybe 3 series. Catch it on YouTube if you can.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, that's your number 10.
Video. Yeah, that's my number 10.
Wonderful. My number 10. I'm going for series 3, episode 8.
Okay.
Thicker Than Water, which was the Christmas episode, the Christmas Day episode of that one, and it's when Del and Rodney's dad comes back. I think the casting was fantastic for this because the guy they got to play, Peter Woodthorpe, his name was, the guy who got to play Reg Trotter was such a... Are you okay with swearing?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. He was such a wanker. He was such a horrible person and perfectly cast. Perfectly cast.
He's very similar to David Jason, I thought.
Very, very. But a bit more of a... bloated version.
Yeah.
A bit more of a bloated version. But
you could see where he came from.
Yes. Which made it all the more weird because the whole idea of the episode is that Del and Rodney's dad comes back after 16 years or something.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's all of a sudden a blood test because he's got a blood disorder and one of the brothers has got a different blood group and they find out that it's Del Boy's and that Del Boy is, as they call it in there, a lone ranger. He's not, it's not the same father. But like you say, if you looked at Del and Rodney and Del's dad and Del and Rodney's dad, it's Del and the dad that look the same and Rodney's the one that looks weird, but not weird, but he's just tall and thin as opposed to, squat and pug-nosed like David Jason and Peter Woodthorpe is.
Indeed.
So have you seen this episode?
I've seen every episode.
Oh, of course you have. Yeah. That was a stupid question.
That's why my head and my eyes hurt so much. I can't stop hearing the music. I can describe the entire episode if you like. So he changes the blood test and then Del Boy has his doctor check it. And he said, actually, you could have 3 kids and they've all got different blood types and it's got nothing to do with anything.
That's right.
And it turned out that he wasn't in hospital, he was working as a porter.
That's
The
right.
dad.
Yeah, and he just
Yeah, I watched it for real.
Well done. And I listened to this one today actually,
Mm.
and he added the B onto the blood type by hand. Now this to me is one of those episodes that I think John Sullivan was great at writing. It's almost like an Agatha Christie whodunit, all wrapped up in 27 minutes or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
And it's so beautifully written. There's not an ounce of like extra ounce of fat on this. It's just like joke, but also heart rendering and beautifully like acted by David. Well, all of them, everybody. It's just so brilliantly done. Yeah, and I should be higher really. I think on my top 10, but that's my number 10.
And are we saying whether if we have matches or not?
Yes, if you want to, as long as it's not your number 1, we'll keep that a bit safe. But is that one in your top 10?
No.
Oh, shucks. I thought you was going to get you then.
Mm-mm.
Okay, then. Well, let's hear what your number 9 is then, Sarah.
So number 9, I'll explain it to you and everyone else. Series 4, episode 3, and it's called Hole in One. And in that episode, Rodney decides to take all of the money they've got, because if you watch every week, they've got money to invest in new products, which they go out and sell. Well, Rodney makes the mistake of buying a lot of, like 20 cases of suntan lotion in the middle of winter. So they've got no more money at all. And then midway through the episode, they find out that Uncle Albert has accidentally fallen down the stairs in a pub. And there's some kind of legal dispute about trying to get some compensation for him. And then if we're doing spoilers, it transpires that Uncle Albert is really good at falling, and he's probably done it 20 or 30 times in the past to get money.
That's right, yeah, because their solicitor, Sully, manages to get like a deal for like, I don't think it's like $2,000 or something, and Delboy says, no, I want to really set us up. But yeah, he fell through the hole of the at the pub, didn't he? At the pub, and landed on the landlord. Yeah, this one very close to being in my top 10. This is one of those ones that I can just. This was with Uncle Albert as opposed to Grandad, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's one of. He had only debuted an episode before that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's such a good episode.
It was, because the first episode Grandad was supposed to be in, but it was hospitalized in real life, so they hospitalized his character. And then by the second one, he'd sadly passed away. So then they introduced Uncle Albert. This is the episode after that.
Yeah.
I must say, by the way, I've never noticed this before, but Buster Merrifield was really muscly.
Very.
Like, it shocked me.
Is
like,
this
he
the
was actually
episode that
quite
he has-
ripped.
Yeah. Is this the episode where he's just in his vest?
I don't know. I've watched every episode in about one day.
I was going to say that
it's
there's
all
one episode where he's got like a blue vest on, and you can see his guns, and you think,
Yeah,
oh my
that's what I
God.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he used to
Shocked.
go on Wogan and do press ups and things like that.
Yeah, that
when he
makes
was-
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's your number 9. My
Number
number
nine?
9. This is probably the most racist one out of the
Okay.
lot, and that's not the reason that it's in my top 10. It's just it's a really funny episode. But it's the Yellow Peril one. This is the one with the Chinese restaurant
Yeah.
where Dal gets Rodney and Grandad to decorate it with paint that he doesn't know what color the paint is, and in the end he finds out it's yellow, but it's actually fluorescent. Is it fluorescent paint or luminescent paint? Something
It
like that.
is,
It's a paint that paint signs in tunnels with.
That's right. So Trigger stole it from Clapham Junction, and they use it to paint railway signs.
That's right, inside tunnels, and then Grandad goes, tunnels? But they also don't realise that Del Boy, while they are sorting the Chinese takeaway out, Del is going and giving their deceased mother's tribute in the graveyard, a bit of a spruce up with this luminous paint. And it's the one bit I really love is when Rodney finds out that the paint has been stolen.
Yeah.
And Del Boy has this whole monologue about how this stolen paint from British Rail is good for the country. And I'll try and find that clip and put it in there for the patrons. But yeah, it's a great episode. Series 2, episode 5, on the 18th of November, 1982.
And I can say that is in my top 10.
Oh, what number?
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, it is number 7.
Number 7. Okay. Yellow Peril at number 7. So we've got 1 duplicate already. Lovely.
That's 1.
Lovely.
You've got 3 more to go.
You've got 3 more to go. I've got 4 more to go.
No, but duplicates, yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you think will have the same?
I think we're going to have 5 the same.
You think 5 the same?
Yeah, you think 4.
Okay.
So I think you could be right more than me, but I'm going to
I don't know.
No. Well, we won't know yet. For another 40
I might
minutes.
have to change them.
Well, you can't do that.
No, I can't.
That's okay, because you're going to give me yours first anyway, so it doesn't really make any difference.
That's what makes that trickier.
Indeed. Okay, your number 8, please.
Okay. So having heard my number 9 and number 7, we now go in at number 8 with Friday the 14th, which was Series 3, Episode 3, where the Trotters go on a weekend fishing trip to Cornwall, and unfortunately an axe-wielding serial killer has escaped an asylum, and the local chief inspector may not be who he seems to be.
This was in my top 10 this morning, and I remembered another one that should be in my top 10, and it bumped it out. So yeah, this is a great one.
So I like this episode. A lot of comedy series, like Not Going Out and stuff like that, will do a kind of horror-themed episode like this, where they go on a trip somewhere and it's in the woods, and lots of possibly scary or, just cats jumping out kind of stuff happens. And it's a really good early example of that. And yeah, it's a good episode.
What series was this?
It's Series 3, Episode 3.
Series 3, Episode 3, and it was, I'm trying to think of the guy, Christopher Malcolm, who was the chief of security, Mad Axeman. And here's our Star Wars reference. He was in Empire Strikes Back. He was the snow speeder pilot that finds Han and Luke out in the snow in Hoth. There you go.
And tell the audience why Luke looked so dishevelled.
Because he had a motorbike accident?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So
they made the beginning of the film so he had loads of cuts on him, which were real.
Indeed. And he didn't look the same kind of fresh-faced young man from
No.
A New Hope. There we go. We got some Star Wars chatting.
He looked different.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I did for our northern friends.
Well done. And wasn't that right? Didn't I see on Blue Sky that Mark Hamill followed you on Blue Sky?
Does follow me, yes.
How the hell? I mean, what?
Why do you think he wouldn't?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how amazing it is that he did.
Yeah,
not in the fact that, oh my God, it's you. So why?
I know I'm just being difficult on purpose, but no, yeah, I completely agree with you. It's like,
that's crazy.
it is crazy.
Have you sort of contacted him and messaged him about being a guest on your show?
No, I'll save it for special.
Okay. I mean, by definition, it would be special if you had him on any episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. There are quite a few people that have followed me for ages, and I just try and act normal about that. And I haven't DM'd them yet.
Like who?
I could. Pardon?
Like who?
Okay. Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, he's not following you, is he?
Well, he does in the old place.
Oh, the place we don't talk about. Wow. And is it just taken all of your reserve to not DM them, or are you thinking, I'll lay back, be a bit cool, leave it maybe 6 months, and then
several years? Oh, he's followed me for several years, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How have you not just gone, hey, Sam?
I think I'm scared too.
Why?
Samuel L. Jackson. It's like,
but all
I'm trying to act all normal about it, So
you can't message him.
He's probably working out why the hell I haven't. So
Exactly. He's looking at his phone every day and go, she still hasn't fucking messaged. What's going on?
Exactly.
You got to do it. All of them. All of them. Because all they can do is say no.
I'm just waiting for special, So.
That's mad. Anyway.
I live my life.
I know. That's your number 8, Friday the 14th. A very good episode.
Yes.
My number 8
Mhm.
is Series 5, Episode 3, excuse me, The Longest Night.
The Longest Night.
The Longest Night. So this is one of the episodes where I don't even know why I say it, but this is the one where Del, Rodney, and Uncle Albert go to the supermarket and buy loads of jolly japes. They end up being caught in the manager's office at the same time as somebody is trying to steal all the money from the safe, and you finally find out that it's an inside job.
Yeah.
And it's the damn elusive Shadow that is the guy that is trying to he's being set up basically by they're just trying to take the money from the safe. It's just one of those episodes that it's so perfectly written.
Yeah.
But the guy that plays the Shadow, Vaz Blackwood, you'd recognize him from Snatch. It's a lot of the those kind of gangster movies. He's been in all of those kind of things. That damn elusive Shadow is just one of those things that I just think about so often, and it just is ingrained into my brain, like every episode is with you, Sarah, because you've just spent the last 3 weeks mainlining Only Fools and Horses and not doing anything else.
It's all just in my short-term memory, all of it, because I've seen it so recently.
So in theory then, I think when we do the quiz coming up shortly, you should get 10 out of 10.
I might not.
I think you should. I think you'd be very disappointed with yourself if you say you get 75%.
I'm really bad with names. And it's basically been one long episode for me. Like,
That's
I can't
fine.
differentiate them anymore.
But you'll remember the facts.
I hope so.
You remember the facts, don't worry.
Yes, I do.
If not, give Sam Jackson a call. He'll help
Yeah.
you. He'll help you.
I'm not sure if that's something special.
Yeah, no. Could you imagine that you did call him and said, "I've got something special for you, Sam. Come and do an Only Fools and Horses quiz with me," and he'd go, you'd say it the way Sam Jackson would say it, wouldn't he?
I would not. No, he would say it, yeah.
No. Mark Hamill would help you, because I think he's a bit of an Anglophile. I bet he loves Only Fools and Horses.
I don't know.
Well, message him and find out. I mean, you got a better chance of doing it than I have.
Again, I don't know if that's the best thing to do it for.
Yeah, I'm probably doing it from a very selfish point of view there, to be fair.
You're trying to burn through 2 of my DMs there.
I am. I'm trying
in one
to...
in one silliness.
Yes. Very silliness. Okay, that was your number 8.
I could just be DMing Vanilla Ice for these trivialities.
You haven't got Vanilla Ice as well following you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I mean, that is like... And you haven't spoken to him yet. You haven't had... I mean, you know, if only you had like a show on YouTube or something where you interview like celebrities. If you had that kind of sort of output that you could use that platform for.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? You could use that to maybe talk to these kind of big celebrities.
That is true.
Have you thought about that? Have you thought about doing that?
I have quite a bit, yeah. About 300 times so far.
I mean, look, I could give you that idea for free, Sarah. Okay, I don't want the lawyers involved. We don't have to split it.
No.
Just if you fancy, you know, talking to celebrities about just anything, it's just an idea. And call it the Sarah O'Connell Show. You've even got a sign behind you that already made.
I know. What are the chances?
With a little YouTube
100%. Yeah, they sent me that.
Did they?
Yeah.
What, just to help you with the idea? Or?
I think it's got like little M&Ms with YouTube logos on them.
Really? And you got sent that just for like Christmas, or?
Don't know. They just sent it to me. I haven't eaten them yet.
Have you not?
How long they not know?
No. Well, and again,
I'm saving them for special.
Just so everybody knows, Sarah is a very successful YouTube content creator. Would you not say?
Thank you very much. I hope so.
I think so.
Thank you.
And if you think she because she hasn't spoken to Samuel L. Jackson or Mark Hamill or Vanilla Ice, that she hasn't spoken to very famous people, I'll put the link in the show notes for Sarah's show, and you will see some of the people that she has spoken to. I mean, Vanilla Ice. I mean, forget it.
I did recently interview Chesney Hawkes though, so
There you go. Britain's answer to Vanilla Ice.
yeah.
I think so. Got the same kind of hair. Well, did have. I mean, I haven't seen whether he's got the same kind of hair now. He used to have the floppy curtains, didn't he? I think back in the day.
Yeah.
Was he nice to talk to?
Yeah, he's really nice. Yeah, I really like Chesney Hawkes. He
Yeah.
released a new fan version of a music video just today because I obviously get his newsletter.
Of
So
course.
people should check that out.
Of course. And how's Ryan? Have you spoken to Ryan recently?
Reynolds?
Yes.
Not for a while. I think
Oh.
he's fine.
Oh, okay. It's just that you were saying that you were such good friends last time that we spoke, and
We have met.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. We spent like one day together. That's all.
Well, but that's a lot more than a lot of people.
It's true.
And you were on, as we said on the last episode, you were on the set of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
And you met Hugh Jackman as well. I mean, goodness
I
me.
did.
I
Try and make the most of my time.
And so you should, because I don't think I would be able to talk if I got to speak to, especially Hugh. I love Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but you'd
Okay.
refuse to talk to him.
I'm not saying I wouldn't refuse to talk to him. I don't think I'd physically be able to talk to him. I think the emotions would just run too high, and I just
Just
cry.
sing.
I would just cry.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm
makes
just like,
sense.
I'm that kind of man. Anyway, my number 8 was The Longest Night. So your number 7 was Yellow Peril, which we've already
Yes, so
spoken
we've
about.
done that.
Yeah.
I
My
seriously
number
did it
7.
before my number 8.
Sorry,
I did it before my number 8.
you did. You did. That's our only duplicate so far. Number 7 for me is Strained Relations, Series 4, Episode 2. And this is the one where, unfortunately, this is the episode that Grandad had passed away.
He has,
And this was the perfect episode of Only Fools and Horses where the comedy and the heartbreak is balanced so beautifully. Because everybody watching I can remember watching this and realizing that Leonard Pierce had passed away.
yeah.
And the first 5 minutes of it is basically all the cast are just crying at a gravesite.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they still make it hilarious with the fact that somebody has stolen the vicar's hat, and actually it's, I think, was it Delboy or was it Rodney that had it in his hand and just chucked it on the grave and it got buried. But that's again where we see Uncle Albert for the first time. So
Very true.
a nice way to introduce Buster Merryfield. But it must have been a very, very hard episode to write and to
Yeah,
and
I
to
think
do.
so.
Yeah, not in your top 10.
No.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that was Series 4, Episode 2 on the 28th of February 1985 was first broadcast. Okay then, Sarah, you're number 6.
Number 6. Okay. Number 6 for me is the episode T for 3, which is Series 5, Episode 4. So it's a very famous episode where Delboy and Rodney are competing for the affections of Lisa. And Rodney at one point falls asleep and his brother doesn't wake him up, and he wakes up very suntanned and he's not particularly happy about that. And in revenge, arranges for Derek Trotter to go hang gliding as a surprise. And Delboy tries to get out of it by coming up with an agreement with Rodney whereby Rodney will pretend that their car phone, which they don't have, has rung. And then he'll just go and take this important phone call. But then, of course, he's saying, is the phone ringing? And Rodney just says it isn't. And then he has to go and fly off. Then he goes missing for 12 hours, crashes into a television transmitter, falls onto a couple who then have to delay their wedding. And lots of craziness happens. But yeah, it's a very famous but very fun episode.
That was one of the moments, like, because I think if we'd have done top 10 Only Fools and Horses moments, the moment when Del realizes when he's all strapped up to that,
Yeah.
what is it, a hang glider, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Rodney's going, no, I can't hear a phone, Del. That look on Del Boy's face is like, oh, you little bastard. You know, you've got me. You've got me. Yeah, that is a good one.
It's a really good episode. But so just to clarify, by the way, each one of these episodes I've picked because the entire episode is good.
Yes.
Because there are some very famous scenes that I haven't included because I didn't think the episode was that good.
I've done exactly the same. I mean, for me, the main one is the one where he falls through the bar.
Yeah.
Which I think is Yuppie Love, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that episode didn't make it. I mean, that
Same.
moment is one of those moments that if you say Only Fools and Horses to a fan, that's probably the moment that people will always quote is, oh yeah, when he falls through the bar. The whole episode isn't what I call one of their the strongest episodes.
See, that's why I thought it was a good idea to do this, because otherwise we're just going to be telling people stuff they're already thinking, as opposed to giving them perhaps reintroductions to episodes they may not have even thought about for a long time. So hopefully if you hear about one and go, oh, that sounds fun, I don't really remember what happened, and that will give you a new jumping off point to go back in.
And also you don't get the context of what the joke is. Oh, he falls through a bar.
Yeah.
You're not getting the context of anything with that. Whereas you're absolutely right. The actual episodes was a good shape. So well done.
I thought it was before I started doing it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you could have just watched a 10-minute video on YouTube of Only Fools and Horses best bits.
I got about 3 episodes in, and then I thought there's quite a lot of this.
Did you not watch it on like double speed or something?
No. I watched it.
Fair play. See, that's commitment.
That's what
I mean, I didn't even do that, and I'm hosting the show. But then again, like I say, I've probably got decades on you of watching these episodes anyway. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure if you could have.
Well, I have. I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I just know that there's probably decades in difference.
Not necessarily. I stretch my face out with quite a lot of potatoes, so there's less wrinkles there.
But then so do I, you see?
Yeah.
And mine's covered in
fluff.
That's
why I'm doubly not wrinkly, because you also stretch my face out with potatoes.
Okay. Yeah, but I still don't think that you're 55 now, are you?
No.
There you go then. Right, so... okay, so that was your number 6. My number 6, again, with the Star Wars bit of leanings, I'm going for May the Force Be With You, Series 3, Episode 5. And so this is the one where Jim Broadbent makes his first appearance as a DCI. Is it DCI or Detective Roy Slater? A real nasty piece of work copper. And a microwave oven has been stolen, and Roy Slater, who was an old school friend of Boise and Dell and Dell and Trigger, and he wants to come and find out who. And this is another one of those Agatha Christie style ones where it's beautifully written, that comes round with a nice twist at the end.
Yeah.
I think 3 times Jim Broadbent starred as Roy Slater.
Yeah, he kept returning.
Yeah. A fan of this one? Is this in your?
I'm not, because I found it stressful. I didn't like his character.
Right.
He's obviously an antagonist. So I like the other characters. I don't like that they're going through this.
Right.
And while I love the twist at the end, I didn't enjoy the journey of getting there. Like, it's a great payoff, but like I wouldn't watch it on purpose, because the episode stresses me out up until that point.
All right. Okay. It's funny you say that, because I find that with some films and stuff, I find it hard to watch them when I know that there's a bully or there's someone that's really nasty in it, and at the end they get their comeuppance, but it's very hard to go through that, and in your mind that everything's going to be fine at the end, but it's very hard to watch it. So I can understand that.
Yeah,
but I think that
you have to go through the suffering with the characters first, and I'd just rather not.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But I find that this is Jim Broadbent going off to Hollywood and starring in lots of movies and becoming a bit of a star over there, movie star. Often it made me think as well today why David Jason didn't sort of do that. Why he never sort of went on and went into movies. He did
something better than that. He was Count Duckula.
That is true. And Danger Mouse.
And the BFG. The good version.
There you go. So maybe, and Pal Larkin as well in Darling Betty May. And Frost, wasn't he? D.I. Frost?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so fair play. Okay, right, we have got halfway, so it's now time for this.
Quiz, hotshot.
Nearly. Pop quiz, hot shot, it should be. Let's try it again.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Okay, you've got 10 questions, Sarah. 10 questions all about Only Fools and Horses.
I'm not going to get any of them.
You're going to get every single one correct.
I'm not sure. I've been rapidly deleting it from my brain.
Well,
I don't even know what number 6 was, and I just said it.
Let's see if we can get there before there's a final fact dump, shall we?
Uh-oh. Well, I hope you're not filming that.
I was going to say, that sounded a lot more filthier than it was supposed to.
Yeah.
That was a fact dump. That's awful.
I never had a word to describe what I do after these things.
You got one now. You're
Yeah.
just going to have to go and have a fact to dump. I've got to be careful how I say that. That's really bad. Okay, question number 1. What is the name of the tower block the Trotters live in?
Nelson Mandela House.
Lovely jubbly.
Well done. 1 out of 1. Number
I'm not good
2.
with names is going to go terribly. Go on.
Number 2. Well, you've got 1 out of 1. You're 100%.
Yeah, no.
Number 2. What are the 3 locations on the side of the Trotters' 3-wheeled van?
I don't know.
Have a guess.
I'm going to say Peckham. I'm going to say Paris for some reason. Is Paris one of them?
It is. And Peckham. You got 1 more to go.
But see, my brain's saying London, but that doesn't make sense, does it? London, Peckham.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No. Where would they put? New York?
Lovely jubbly.
Well done. 2
That's
out
just
of
common
2.
sense. That's what you'd put on the side of any van, though, isn't it?
New York, Paris, Peckham. Well
See,
done.
I got that through osmosis. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Well, now I wrote these questions before I totted up my top 10. So this is an absolute coincidence. Which actor played Dell's school friend and later enemy, D.I. Slater?
That would be Jim Broadbent.
Is correct.
Lovely jubbly.
Is correct. Like I say,
Thank you, short-term memory. That was almost gone.
There you go. Number 4. What item finally made the Trotters millionaires?
I don't know.
No?
Anything? No.
Oh dear. It
Got
was.
him by the short and curlies.
It was a pocket watch.
It's true.
Yeah, that's right. Number 5.
It's
What
because
was
I'd got past that bit where they'd lost it all again. Yeah.
What was the name of Boyce's flirtatious wife?
I'm gonna say Marlene.
Is correct.
Who was missing in the
Lovely
last
jubbly.
episode because she'd had cosmetic surgery.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh, right. And which episode?
Last one.
Oh, really?
Mm. She's in it, but they think that she might have been murdered, but it's because she's recovering from surgery.
So is it a different actress playing her?
No. She's in the episode, but
Oh,
she's
right.
missing for most of the episode. Like the characters notice that she's not in the episode and think she might have been murdered,
Oh, right.
but it turns out she's just had surgery.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, number 6. How many times does Del Boy get
4.
engaged in the whole series?
Does it? But does that include references to times he was previously engaged? I think it's a lot.
Well, I'm going to say just actually in the series, not the times that you actually see him get engaged.
I don't know. I'm just going to say 3. I don't know.
Lovely jubbly.
This girl is on fire,
Mm.
as someone once sang.
But
Well
I remember
done.
him referencing being it. Yeah. Okay.
Well done. Number 7. What is the name of Rodney's best friend?
Mickey, the pork pie hat person.
Mickey Pork Pie Hat Person.
Pierce.
Well done.
Thank you,
Lovely
brain.
jubbly.
6 out of 7 so far.
I'm
Number
exercising
8.
all out my brain as we speak. Go.
You're doing fantastic. Number 8, in the A Touch of Glass episode,
Oh,
Del
no.
tries to sell a couple of novelty cat ornaments that play what song?
I don't know. It's gone from my head.
Do you want to have a guess?
No.
What would be a comedy answer for a cat ornament?
See, we're crossing into another problem. Is I have psychological issues with the musical Cats.
Oh, dear. And that's where the Taylor Swift reference comes in, because she was in the movie of Cats. There you go.
There you go.
We got one in there.
I've been on BBC Radio 1 genuinely twice talking about that movie.
Have you?
In different years.
Wow.
I don't know. Pass.
It
Skip,
was.
next.
How much is that doggy in the window?
Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Okay. Number 9. What is Dell's father's Christian name?
Can't remember. I could just remember what he looks like.
Do you want to have a guess?
No.
Okay.
You reckon they're porkies?
It's Reg.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got it.
Reg. And the final question. What is the name of the Trotters' local pub?
Nag's Head.
Lovely jubbly.
Well done. So that wasn't bad. That was 7
Yeah.
out of 10.
I deleted some of it already.
But that's pretty good.
It is.
You'd be proud of yourself.
So with some individual items, the problem is because I watch them sell every single item in every episode in about 2 days. Like my brain's just picking lots of different piles of things.
It's like the claw in
Yeah.
Toy Story, isn't it? You're not getting
It's like-
anything.
If you want me to list everything they've sold sequentially, then I can do that. But it might take me a minute.
I thought you did really well. 7 out of 10. 70% is a very, very good score. So well done.
Yeah, when I heard the other ones, my brain was like, yeah, of course that's what it was. But yeah,
Well done.
outrageous.
Okay. Back to the job in hand, though, Sarah.
Okay.
Your number 5, please.
My number 5. Right, okay. So this episode is called No Greater Love. It's from series 2, episode 4. Rodney. By the way, I must say, if you watch every episode in a row, a lot of the episodes follow the same pattern, mostly around who Rodney's dating, that sets up whatever problem there is in that episode. So in this episode, Rodney dates somebody called Irene, who happens to be married to a very violent person who is in prison. And I chose this episode not because it's the funniest, but because Del Boy puts himself in harm's way to protect Rodney. And I really like that it shows how much he cares about him. So I thought it's very different in that regards to other episodes where they're sort of stitching each other up much more.
I think that's a good statement there. Yeah, definitely. Who was it? Gay Brown is Irene McKay.
Yep.
And I wonder if she's still alive. She is. Yeah, she's 2nd of March 1941. She was born.
I included her in tribute to her still being alive.
Did you?
Yeah.
Perfect. So she was born in 1941. That means she was 41 in the episode.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have classed her as being. How old would Rodney have been? Maybe 20?
20 something, mid-20s, I think.
Mid-20s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose she would have been a lot older than him. I think the thing is though, like an 80s 40 is what sort of age in these
75.
days? Do you think so?
Oh, to me at the time, because anyone that was, older than about 20, I thought was 100 years old. So I had no way of gauging how old anybody was.
That is true. I saw a terrible, the band Brotherhood of Man that sang "Kisses for Me."
Yeah.
The guy with the moustache in that, when that came out, was like 27. Now I always thought he looked 45, maybe 50 at a push, but he was 27. He was like half the age that I am now, and I think that's ridiculous. It's just like, see, I'm going to name shows like, you don't even know what the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Social Club was, do you?
Don't know what that is.
No. But you'll see things like Little and Large and Cannon and Ball, and it was from the 70s, and the people in the audience all look 75. And they can't have all been 75. There must have been some youngsters in there, but their hair brill creamed back, and they've got beige suits on and brown suits and orange shirts. And it's just a different time.
They will sometimes, you'll see images online of, I don't know, Beverly Hills Cop, and like the entire cast, and it'll be like that person was 33 and you'd think they're 60 or something.
Exactly.
I don't know how they managed it.
So weird. Weird. Time is just a weird thing. But that is a great one. That was very close to being in my top 10 as well, I must admit, but didn't quite get there. That's your number 5.
And by the way, when Del Boy turns up completely beaten up, blood dripping from his face, Rodney then reveals that they've broken up and he's now dating Zoe, who he met at a roller disco.
That's right, a roller disco. Oh, bless him. Okay, so my number 5, we're going for the episode, we're talking about time on our hands, the 29th of December 1996. This is the episode where they finally become millionaires.
Yes.
So this is, I think it's not Cassandra's dad, is it? It's Raquel's parents come to dinner, and they're looking through, the dad is looking through Del and Rodney's garage, and I think a previous episode, Del has just picked up a watch and just thrown it on the side, saying, well, this isn't going to... And he sees this, and he cannot believe that this is like the lesser watch or something. This is a pocket watch that has been sought after for ages. And they go and make millions on it. And it becomes... they finally are millionaires. And I will watch the episodes afterwards, but I kind of felt all the times since 1981, Del Boy has said this time next year we'll be millionaires. Yeah. It was just poetic justice that they finally became millionaires. And although in this episode, once he's got the lovely house, he's just playing snooker by himself, and he looks really, really bored and decides to go back to the flat. And you feel that you can't take him away from that. That's what he loves. But it was nice to finally see them win for a change, because
I agree.
That's British comedy, is everybody loves losers.
But then I think it's also good to see what happened afterwards, and I would argue that at the end of it, with Damien being a bit older and Rodney and Cassandra getting their own kid too, that they were richer in a different way.
That's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Bring a tear to my eye then.
And I've watched all the sentimental episodes as well.
That's very good.
I know.
I feel like we've reached the emotional crescendo now of the episode. But we're going to go... We've not yet.
I've planned days with them.
Oh, have you? You said that more as a threat than a promise. That's fair enough. Okay, that was my number 5. On to you for your number 4, please.
Which I'll now read for the first time to myself. And in that entire conversation, I didn't think to look down at all.
No, fair enough.
Okay, so coming in at number 4. Okay, yeah. So the chance of a lunchtime, which is series 7, episode 6, and the Trotters are trying to think of a baby name, and Rodney suggests Damien, which for people familiar with the horror trilogy, The Omen, is the name of the Antichrist. And there's lots of jokes about that throughout the episode. And then when he's finally born, he looks at Rodney and the music from the film plays, and then there's a very sweet moment at the end where Del Boy is looking out the window talking to his deceased mum about his kid and how he hoped she'd be proud and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is a beautiful moment when Del comes out and Rodney goes, "What is it?" "It's a baby, Rodney." Yeah. Oh, I love that bit. Yeah, and the bit at the end is so sweet because he's looking up at the stars, isn't he? And
yeah. Oh. I told you there was more.
Well done.
Went straight into it.
You didn't lie. You absolutely didn't lie. Yeah, that's a great one. I didn't even think about putting this one in my top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I see, because I watched those the Omen films when I was a kid, and I shouldn't have, way before I should have. I really remember finding that episode very funny at the time because I understood that reference.
Right.
So it's just kind of stuck with me, I guess.
You're like Captain America in the Avengers when I recognise that reference. Yeah,
exactly.
Chris Evans, you're not friends with Chris Evans at all? Or?
No. Although I did pass him once outside the BBC, but it's the wrong one.
The ginger one?
No, it was grey. The white head, I think.
Oh, really?
Mm.
See, I'm thinking from back in the 90s, see, when he was ginger.
Yeah. I didn't walk past the BBC very much then.
No. And what were you doing at the BBC, can I ask?
Walking out with it.
Oh, well, fair enough. How did you get in there in the first? You must have gone in there for a reason.
I can't remember. I've been there quite a lot.
Have you?
Yeah.
See, again, this is where it's levels. So, if I'd have gone to the BBC, I'd have gone, "Oh my God, I went to the BBC." You're just nonchalant.
I think it was a meeting. I think that particular day it might have just been a meeting or something. Or a press event, maybe.
A meeting with the BBC?
Could have been, or it could have been a press event that I might have gone to. One of them.
But you've been there so many times that you've just
Quite
forgotten.
a few times, yeah.
It's just a daily thing. Just pop to the BBC, get
Sometimes.
sent things by YouTube. It's just a normal day in Sarah's life. It's just
normal things occurring.
Different world. That's what it is. I wouldn't know that rarefied air, Sarah. You know?
It's not very nice. It's just central London. The rarefied air is quite near Oxford Street. It's not, you don't want too much of it.
No?
No.
Yeah, see, it's only people that like have tasted that rarefied air can say things like that.
It's quite a busy street.
Is it? Okay.
A lot of traffic.
Nice. It must be nice being on that busy street, though, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Good for shopping. It's a good street for shopping. There's a lot of shops there, and you can walk to Leicester Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, sometimes I don't know whether you're talking in you mean that, or whether you're trying to talk in like riddles, and it means something a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, it means so much more. You should look into that for years. You should dedicate your life to this.
I'm going to take the transcript of this and
what
try
does she
and
mean?
work it out like the Bible code.
You can walk from, you need a Rosetta Stone to translate this, but
exactly.
You start or not, if you go from the BBC to Oxford Street, it's not a very long walk geographically. Well, it depends what you're doing.
But spiritually, is it a long walk?
Yeah, and then it's quite a nice walk if you choose to walk to Leicester Square.
Yeah, see? If you
go to Whole Foods, get an elaborate salad.
See? Elaborate salad. What does that mean? It doesn't mean
lettuce
and... See, what's that Latin for?
Kale. Sometimes I'll put chicken and tuna in it.
See, now what does that mean? What's the hidden meaning in that? Chicken and tuna?
2 different types of protein.
I'm going to send the transcript of this episode to Dan Brown and see if we can do another sequel to the Da Vinci Code.
You should.
And we'll call it the top 10 Sarah Code, and see if he can come out with what you actually mean. Because all of these
everything I just said, really.
No, there's hidden meanings in there, Sarah. There is.
You don't believe I really had a salad, do you?
No. I think it means something else. And what a quinoa is, I don't know what that is. That's Latin for something. It's Latin for the new Jesus.
It's a very enthusiastic wah.
Is it? Okay then. Okay, yes. So number 4 was Chance of a Lunchtime. My number 4 is Series 3, Episode 2, 17th of November 1983, Healthy Competition.
Oh.
Now this is when Rodney decides to go it alone with Mickey Pierce, and Del Boy decides that they're going to dissolve their partnership.
Yeah.
And so Del Boy tries to teach Rodney a little bit of a lesson. And in the end, this is one of the episodes where Del Boy doesn't kind of win at the end. His healthy competition and his sort of trying to teach Rodney a lesson bites him on the ass in the end. I feel like you're trying to search your memory banks.
I'm not searching my memory. I'm just thinking I disagree. I'm actually disagreeing with you in my head to start with.
Okay.
Because Del Boy plants the idea into Rodney's head of avoiding the scrap metal. Then Rodney, of course, buys it, and it turns out that it was Del Boy that sold it in the first place.
Yeah, so it does kind of bite him in the ass in the end.
It does, yeah.
Because he gives Towser, I think if it is when he's eating a takeaway, some money to go and buy the...
Yeah, that's right. And then he doesn't spend all the money, he keeps some.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's... I've said it on other podcasts before. I love watching people eat on TV and on movies. I'm fascinated with it. And the way that Del Boy is munching his curry, and there's no hidden meanings in that, I've always been fascinated with it. He makes it look so like lovely to eat, whatever curry he's eating. And I've just got something about watching people eat on screen. I really enjoy... I have this sort of not morbid, but it's kind of this fascination watching people eat.
Then can I suggest you, this is a tangent.
Go on then.
There was some very, I suppose, bland food that someone had in a film once, and they made it seem like it was the best food in the world. It was a homeless person in Santa Claus the movie who is kindly given just like a baguette, some bread, and like a can of Coke And because he's not eaten for ages, it seems like the most amazing food in the world.
Right.
So yeah, if you like watching people eat food.
Okay. I started watching Santa Claus the movie during Christmas, and then we sort of like stopped after about half an hour.
Watch it.
Okay. How long into the movie is the
Say first 20 minutes.
Oh, was it?
And then if you stay to the end, you can watch John Lithgow eat some candy canes.
That'll
John
do for me.
Lithgow, by the way, has been on my show for about 2 minutes, which is fun.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Was he too busy eating candy canes to come and do any longer than that?
No, he was at a premiere and was very kind to come over and speak to me for a minute.
Have you done red carpets then? So
I've been in all kinds of houses.
But how pressurized is that situation? Do you know that you're speaking to them, or do you have to sort of barge your way in and say,
it's not
come
barging.
and talk to me?
Right, so this is what happens. So at the beginning, there's bless them, there's normally loads of PR people acting really serious with earpieces in and bits of paper and stuff, and they'll come up to you and go, is there anyone in particular you want to talk to, or will you just talk to anyone that happens to be available? Now there's a bit of a risk in this because it can include just their guests that have been invited, and I don't just mean random people that are coming to watch the film, but it could be someone from Strictly Come Dancing or whatever, just, like celebrities that they've invited. And so I always think it's fun to just say, just bring anybody over. So you might get a writer, producer, director, or, a member of the cast, or you might get someone that's in something else and not necessarily something you've ever seen. And you have to try and work out who they are during the interview, which I think is a lot of fun.
So you don't get introduced to the person, it's just someone comes and wanders past you and you grab them.
They'll be brought over, but then the conversation just starts.
Okay. And who would you say has been the best person you've spoken to in regards to that?
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise?
Probably. Oh no, he was an actor in the film. Obviously, he wasn't a random person.
No.
But yeah, he.
And was he? I mean, he always seems to me to be somebody that is very generous when he's doing things like red carpet.
Yeah, he was great. So it's really fun to watch, actually. So what happens at red carpet thing, on one side they have all the journalist people, and on the other side it's fans, and they've got things to sign and they want selfies and stuff. And instead of just going down the line, he would maybe do 1 or 2 interviews and just completely break off, wander off in a different direction, sign a bunch of stuff, come back, and he'd have to be sort of guided back to the right place to continue. But then, he spends lots of time speaking to fans as well.
Did you get nervous when you saw him coming towards you?
No, there's no real time for that. You just sort of have to think really quickly what you're going to do. In that situation, I think there was time for 1 question with him, and there were about 10 journalists there, and for some reason he walked over to me, so I got to talk to him.
And what question did you ask him? Or should I make
you should watch the show?
You should watch the show. Yeah, go click the link in the show notes.
I'd be telling you 50% of the episode otherwise.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spoil it for people. I've not watched
it myself.
Has there been any times when it's been a bit, any embarrassing moments?
Not really. I don't know.
You've never,
lovely.
When people have come to you, have you all of a sudden, like, brain fog and you think, I do not know what to say to somebody?
I don't tend to have that. I don't tend to have that in general. I can normally just speak to random. I used to work in a supermarket, and you'd be speaking to a new person every minute.
Yeah, but they're not Tom Cruise, are they?
That's true. But so usually what happens in that situation is that they insist that you see the film in advance. So I've already seen it, and I've already got 20 questions, let's say, in my head, and it's quite easy to come up with a follow-up while you're talking to somebody.
So if somebody from Strictly Come Dancing is shoved in front of you, then do you talk to them about the movie?
Right.
If you don't know, because you don't quite know who they are.
If that happens, and let's say 2 people from Strictly came up to me at once, and I've got literally no idea who they are, I would first ask them, what are you working on at the minute, or how's your week been, or something like that. And they might say, we've just had some really good rehearsals. And then I'll sort of, okay, so you're rehearsing for something. And then I'll ask some more questions to try and work out what it is that they do. And that happened.
Did it?
Yeah.
And how did it go?
Fine, I worked out who they were.
Oh, did you? And who were they?
I can't remember. AJ someone. It was about 8 years ago, to be fair. I spoke to
Okay.
about 20 people that day.
Well done.
And
It's
I can't
almost-
remember the names of things I watched 2 days ago on a
I
TV
was
show.
going to say it's almost the same of how many Only Fools and Horses episodes you've watched probably today.
Yeah, quite a few.
Well done. That's very. I'm very impressed though. That's
Thank you.
it's talking and thinking on your feet when you've got the major star coming towards you and stuff is kind of like the nerves that I'm feeling today talking to you. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
it's okay. It's all levels. It's all levels. When I'm a guest on someone's podcast, I can say, yeah, that time when I was talking to Sarah O'Connell.
Yeah, but there's no different. People are just people. And if you know how to talk, you can apply that to talking to one person, 10 people, 100, 1,000, or whether you're talking to somebody at a bus stop or, if they're the biggest star in the world, they're just people.
But then again, so who would you class as not necessarily the person that you would most like to talk to, but
Yeah.
in your own personal life, who is somebody that you class as like a hero, somebody that you would that is like the ultimate person that you would love to meet?
I'd probably say Mariah Carey.
Right. So if Mariah Carey was coming towards you, would you feel emotional? Would you?
I get stressed thinking about it. I don't know.
So there you go. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it's someone, I mean, like for me, if it was Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford or someone like that, and Hugh Jackman, I don't know whether I'd be able to physically talk to somebody.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would. I think my reflexes would just kick in. I think if I had to do an interview, I think my brain would just cope with that.
Mm.
But I think I'd just internally be having somewhat of a meltdown.
Well, now you know how I'm feeling today. Okay.
Am I like your ultimate person you could ever talk
Of
to?
course.
Wow, that's incredible.
Of course. I mean, you've got something sent to you from YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
you've made it. You don't have to do anything else now. You can retire, basically.
I don't know if there's enough there to feed me for more than a snack.
That is true. That is true. Okay, your number 4, then, please.
Ooh.
No, you've done your number 4. Your number 3, then, please.
Number 3.
Sarah.
Okay, so number 3 is the unlucky winner is Series 6, Episode 4. And Derek enters one of Rodney's paintings into a competition and wins a week in Mallorca for 3 people. The only problem is there's a bit of a catch. It was a children's competition, and so Rodney has to spend the week, ridiculously, he's about 7 foot tall, has to spend the week joining the Groovy Gang, entering a skateboard competition, going to the junior disco. Very funny episode.
Very good. Again, this was in my top 10 up until this morning.
Yeah.
And didn't quite make it. And of course, stars a friend of our podcast, Michael Fenton Stevens, was one of the holiday reps. I was talking to some people at work today about this episode, and this was the episode that people spoke about more than any other.
Yeah.
It just seems to be one of those real fan favourite ones. Yeah.
It's really silly. It's very funny, and Rodney's reactions to everything are amazing.
The Groovy Gang. Just the name of the Groovy Gang is great. Yeah, that's a great one. That's your number 3. My number 3 is Series 6, Episode 3 from 1989, and it's Chain Gang.
Okay.
Let me see. Series 6, Episode 3. So this is basically where Del, Rodney, and what was his name that was in the pub? So you got Boise, Trigger, Mike, Denzel. They all become a, what's the word? Consortium to buy these gold chains from this guy, and the guy has the suitcase or the briefcase chained to his arm, and they go and do the deal, try and do the deal, and the guy has a heart attack and gets whisked away with the guy's money, and they find out that it's all a massive scam. Now I can't remember whether this is one of the longer episodes. This was 50 minutes, this one.
Yeah, they started getting longer.
Yeah, and that whole series, there were some really great episodes, but there were some ones that just didn't quite hit the site. And I think it's because they're like double episodes, basically, aren't they? and sometimes it's just a little bit too much. But this one was just like really good. The guy that played Arnie, what was his name? Let me just check. Philip McGough, if I say it, yeah, Philip McGough. He's been in a couple of things that I've seen, but I just hadn't recognised him. But yeah, it's just one of those great written episodes. Again, maybe just a little bit too long.
Yeah, there's another really fun one where they're in a slightly different situation, and yeah, there was definitely one that I very much considered for my list as well.
Okay, that's cool. So at the moment, we've still only got one the same.
I know.
Which is surprising. So no one's going to win. We're not going to.
I'm stuck by the audience has won.
Well, the audience, yeah, all the time.
They guessed correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sarah, you're number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so I love this episode, obviously, because it's number 2. So the episode I went for is called A Losing Streak, Series 2, Episode 3. Grandad suspects that Boise might be cheating every time he gambles because Del Boy's not doing very well at all. And Del Boy challenges Boise to a high-stakes poker game during which he bets all of his money and then eventually the entire flat on it. And it's an episode where everything's going wrong. And there's a really funny running joke with a double-sided coin as well. But Del Boy manages to get the upper hand at the end of it in a really funny way.
It's indeed, and it's very classic sort of Western gangster kind of thing where it's all between the good guy and the bad guy, and they're playing poker. And I've never understood. I don't know if you know the ins and outs of poker and how the scoring goes in the regards to here's your 100 and I'll raise you 100.
Yeah.
Because all they seem to be doing is putting 100 down. Surely if they're raising 100, doesn't that mean they need to put 200 in? And if they raise another 100, they need to put 300. I could never understand that. In all the years I've watched that episode.
I think they have to, if someone's putting 100, they have to match it and then they can stay there. Or they can increase it, hoping the other person will go, that's too much money, and then they fold.
Oh, right. Okay. That's fair enough.
I'm not really sure. I'm just guessing, but we should definitely play poker together.
Do you think we should? Can we virtually play it with Bitcoin? Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't trust Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't trust any of those kind of things, or even playing. You see it on I sound like a right old fart. It's unbelievable. I'm not even going to bother. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I feel like I've been watching Only Fools and Horses for the last 3 days non-stop. But that's a great episode, Sarah.
Yeah,
great episode.
I really like it because it's one where Del Boy shows his intelligence at the end and you really don't think they're going to win.
No.
And then at the end, he accuses Boise of cheating. And he's like, how would you know that? And then he says, because those aren't the cards I gave you.
Yeah.
Really
so he knew what he was doing all along. Yeah. Very good. Okay. My number 2 is Series 2, Episode 7. If we'd have done moments, this would have been my number 1 moment. But this is A Touch of Glass. This is the chandelier episode. Just that moment with this, just perfect comedy timing. The granddad with the bang of the hammer, they're under a chandelier and the other chandelier just falls to the ground. But the whole episode of the whole way that where Del is thinking that they're going to be like this stately home owned couple, and they're not. They are where they are, and the stately home people are where they are, and just Del thinks that he's going to be part of that set if he can take this chandelier down and clean it. This is it. This time next year, Rodney will be millionaires. But of course, it all goes terribly wrong. It's very close to being my number 1. But I chose my number 1 for a specific reason. So that is my number 2. A fan of this episode?
I was, although when I watched it back, I kind of felt like, because the chandelier that they're holding is massive and the little one breaks.
Right.
I kind of felt like after that happened, Granddad should have like accidentally broke the other one as well.
Right. Okay.
Didn't.
No, he absolutely didn't. But it was bad enough, one of them breaking.
Can
Okay.
you imagine 2 of them?
I mean, it'd been double the comedy. It'd been double the
Yeah.
comedy. Okay, before we reveal our number ones,
Okay.
Sarah, if you want to just tell us what your 10 to 2 was,
Okay.
I'll do the same, and then we'll reveal our number 1 choices.
Right. At 10 to 2, I had a potato salad.
Did you? Very
I
nice.
did.
Okay.
I
From the
quite
number
liked
10
those odds.
to
Okay,
the number
sorry.
10 to the number 6.
Hilarity. Okay.
Hilarity ensues.
At number 10 was Long Legs of the Law. Am I just saying the episode names?
Yeah, just the episode names is fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we're doing the whole thing again.
Yeah, I mean, we can if you want.
Number 9 was Hole in One. 8 was Friday the 14th. 7 was The Yellow Peril. 6 was T43. 5 was No Greater Love. 4 was The Chance of a Lunchtime. 3, The Unlucky When It Is. 2, A Losing Streak.
Wonderful. Mine is number 10, Thicker Than Water. 9, The Yellow Peril. 8, The Longest Night. 7, Strained Relations. 6, May the Force Be With You. 5, Time on Our Hands. 4, Healthy Competition. 3, Chain Gang. And 2, A Touch of Glass. So what, Sarah, is your number 1 Only
Right.
Fools and Horses episode?
So we didn't guess how many we would have matching. I thought it'd be quite low, but I'm going to make another prediction that our number 1 is the same
Okay.
as one final bit of spiciness.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So your number 1 is?
Heroes and Villains. Is that what you've got? No, you can't say. Don't say if it isn't. That's fine.
Okay.
Series 8, Episode 1. Shall I just talk about it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now I
This is
feel
the
like you've got
famous
something
Batman and
else.
Robin.
Exciting. But it's not. Okay. So that does happen. I must say that the episode starts with my least favorite part of all of it,
Okay.
because it starts with a dream sequence set in the future, and I really don't like those in every single show I've ever watched.
Right.
Absolutely Fabulous used to do it a lot. I think Roseanne had some dream sequences, and weird abstract stuff happened in the young ones. For whatever reason, I don't find that funny.
Okay.
And so it starts with that, and not a fan, but it has got Trigger winning an award for having the same broom for 20 years, including 17 new heads and 14 new handles. So it's got that sequence in it as well.
Yeah.
And then I just secretly cleared my throat. So it's also the episode where Rodney and Del Boy are invited to a ball, a fancy dress ball. And so they dress as Batman and Robin. And on their way down, because the car breaks down, they have to run there and they stop a crime that's happening. But then when they get there, it turns out that the person whose party it was has sadly passed away, and it's now awake. So everybody's just dressed very formally. So yeah, it's a very good episode.
Very good. And the Batman and Robin running down the street is another one of those sort of very iconic moments in Only Fools and Horses history. Although it is not my number 1.
It's not. I'm fascinated.
It's not. My number 1 is one that's in your top 10.
It's a good choice then.
So it is. It was your number 2. So my
Right,
number 1
number
is
2.
A Losing Streak.
Excellent.
Series 2, episode 3.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better half an hour of comedy that has been written that was like that, because like you said when you were talking about it, Del loses all the way through that episode. He has everything against him, even a double-headed coin. He just cannot catch a break. And the beauty of it is that he wins at the end. He wins the money off of Boise. And even at the end, when he's won and they want to take him again, they do the double-headed coin again, and Rodney calls tails. It's a beautiful way to finish the episode, because Del Boy is top of the world. He's won. For once in his life, he's ahead. And then Rodney goes and ballses it up for him with that. It's just a beautiful way, and so it had to be my number one. It's just, it's my favorite episode of Only Fools and Horses, and it's
really good.
Yeah. So we only got two.
Yeah.
The same.
Controversial. We're not as alike as we thought.
You know, I mean, sometimes though, opposites attract, as they say. You know.
We're going to go to Scotland to get married in a minute. It's very exciting. And then we're just going to argue the entire time about the best episodes. Okay, well, no, actually, it's a number 2.
Actually, what we'd argue about is I'd be saying to you, have you messaged Mark Hamill yet today? Have you done it yet or not? And you'd go, no, I haven't yet. So
no,
what are you waiting for?
This is it. You're just going to rush in and message him for no good reason, whereas you've got to save it for special.
But what is special?
Well, I'm in the mood to do it.
What do you class as special?
Not in the mood to at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay.
Doesn't feel. I've got to wait for the universe to line up. You don't.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
When you know, you'll know. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think so.
Okay. We've got a couple of honourable mentions from some of our listeners and viewers. Darren Brown said, my favourite episode has to be Jolly Boy's outing. It had me laughing even after all this time. I love every episode and have watched them all countless times, but Jolly Boy's is the funniest. Stuart Turvey said the unlucky winner is when Rodney wins a holiday to Mallorca, Spain, but he must pretend to be 14 years old. Mary Jane Sims said the one with the blow-up dolls is so very funny. Amanda Face said, oh God, that's so hard to decide. My favourite is probably the Batman and Robin, though especially when Trigger is telling everyone about his broom. And at MPG_1980 on Instagram said, an absolute classic sitcom, so many great episodes, but Danger UXD, the inflatable dolls episode, is probably my favourite, still hilarious now. So thank you very much, everybody, for your feedback. Sarah, what have you got coming up on your wonderful YouTube channel?
Quite a bit. Quite a lot of editing to do. A lot of episodes I'm releasing this year. There's sadly, actually, there's the first 3 episodes that I was planning to film. I'm purposefully delaying because they were all people in California.
Right. Okay. Let's just say, as we're recording this will go out a few weeks after the terrible fires in Southern California. And I would like to say, and this is going to be a few episodes ahead, obviously, but to all our friends in Southern California, we hope that you're safe and we hope that you're well, and our thoughts and are with you. I will also put, so I noticed that Sarah on all of her social media has put all the helplines and all the different things. I'm going to put that up on the social media and on our show notes as well. But our thoughts are all with you, and we hope you're all safe and sound. But yes, carry on, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you for that. So obviously I assume people have seen the news. There's been terrible fires which have affected not just rich and famous people, but, families, communities and animals who have been displaced, and just so many people whose lives are affected or lost even. And there's lots of stuff people can do by either supporting charities or donating clothes or food or whatever it is. If you can help, please do, even if it's just retweeting or resharing someone's GoFundMe. I'm sure they'd really appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So at the moment, there's interviews I'm working on, but I'm obviously, whenever they're ready, if they're ready to do that, then yeah.
Good. Well, like I say, we'll put the information and the link in the show notes, so please go and give Sarah's channel a watch and a subscribe and all of that kind of stuff. And excuse me. Oh God! And I didn't use the cough button. Excuse me. That's better.
It's good, isn't it? Sometimes I do it around the wrong way, and I mute, and then I take it off mute, cough, and then it's.
That's exactly what I do sometimes. I know. It's just so unprofessional, but not like Sarah, because Sarah's the ultimate professional.
Am I?
You absolutely are, and it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you again, Sarah. So thank you so much for spending some time with us.
About 2 weeks this time. Mostly watching that show. So thank you so much for inviting me back on. It was a lot of fun revisiting the show, and it's why I didn't just want to be lazy and just list the episodes that everyone knows. And I assume that some of them might still be in it, but I just wanted to have another look at episodes I haven't thought about in a year or a decade, perhaps, or longer. And yeah, I think it was a fun thing to do. Although I would suggest anyone else doing it spread it out a bit more.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to leave Only Fools and Horses now, aren't you? That's it. You're not going to
Yeah,
watch
I'm
them
straight
for
into
a
the
long...
prequel and the sequel now. Yeah.
Are you actually going to do that?
No.
No, I was going to say don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Please come back. Come back for your hat trick appearance.
Okay.
Whenever you feel ready.
Ready now? Let's do it.
Okay. What do you want to do? What should we
Anything
do?
you like. You name it. I'll just do it off the top of my head. Star Wars films. Let's go.
We've already done Star Wars films. I'll
Not
think
like
of something.
this.
I'll think of something, and I'll be back and we'll chat in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you 10 minutes to calm down.
I'm quite calm.
I was going to say.
This is as high energy as you'll see me. Calm down. I've had one sip of my Pepsi Max. So.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, steady.
I've got 2 drinks on the go.
Okay. Also, don't forget to listen at the end of the episode. Neil with his dulcet tones telling you all about our social medias and Patreon and all of that kind of stuff. We've got a new level. Not a new level. We've got a new perk on Patreon now where Neil and I sit down and watch the movies that you don't want to watch and don't have to watch, and we do a little commentary on them. And as we're recording this, we're actually Saturday going to record another one. I'm going to introduce Neil to the wonderful world of Neil Breen, if you've ever heard of Neil Breen. He's kind of a Tommy Wiseau character who did The Room, and he makes terrible movies. So we're going to sit down and do a commentary on one of his movies.
Oh, wow.
On Saturday, and I'm already regretting it. But there you go. It's what we do.
It's quite the life choice.
Exactly. Exactly. Sarah, thank you again ever so much.
Thank you very much.
Lovely chatting to you. For everybody else, and thank you for watching and listening. Let's go start the countdown.